response itself is effectively too little, too late. The president should have been talking about this for a long time, ever since it began.
Chuck, this feels a little bit like the health care situation, the management issue as to how the president addresses a problem when there's someone close to him, a cabinet secretary whom he likes and admires and respects, right, who is not managing.
There is a sense on this one where the confidence is lost.
All right, folks, there you have some reaction from MSNBC folks to the VA scandal. Joining us now, as promised, is Larry Kudlow, CNBC senior contributor and radio talk show host of the Larry Kudlow Show. Hello, my friend Larry.
Hey, Steve. How are you? Thanks very much.
Always great to talk to you. All right, so well, we could touch on the VA first here. I mean, did he feel he had to come out yesterday? I mean, he was silent for all this time. His administration, it comes out every day more and more. They knew about this problem for years, and now we're told he found out about it on CNN.
Yeah, well, it's one of these unlikely, sort of strange Obama stories, because he had made it a priority going back several years, but, you know, never seemed to bird dog it, never seemed to check up on it, or else maybe he knew and didn't want to do anything about it. He's behind the eight ball once again. You know, he's always, it seems like Obama's always faced with these breaking scandals and never seems to jump on it. And it's an odd thing, and it's something that's going to really hurt the Democrats this November, just in a generic sense that here's a president that just is not up to the job as being the chief executive.
Yeah, I could not agree more. All right,
I want to add one important thing, Steve, here. This is not simply a management problem. I want to really make this point. This is about a pocket of government-run, socialized medicine with rationing and price controls and the usual bureaucratic inefficiencies. That's the problem with the VA. You know, guys like the left-wing columnist Paul Krugman said VA should be a model for our entire healthcare system. Well, here's what you get, okay? And it's not a money problem. You must read this morning's IBD, John Merline's excellent reporting on this. It is not a money problem. The money going to the VA has exploded in recent years. In fact, from 2000 to 2013, budget outlays tripled, okay, while the veterans population being served is actually declined by 4 million. And their budget itself went up 193%, okay, even while just 68% increase in the number of patients. In other words, it's not a money problem. It's not just a management problem. It is a problem of government-run health care, and should be a lesson to all of us about the dangers of Obamacare and single-payer insurance and so forth and so on, which, by the way, I might add, waiting in the wings candidate Hillary Clinton supported way back in the early 90s.
Yeah, here's something else she's going to have to answer to. Absolutely. All right, you wrote a great piece talking about immigration reform, calling it pro-growth and pro-Republican. And to be fair, you start with Tea Party activist Sal Russo. We had him on yesterday, and he made clear that, yeah, he would like to see something done in immigration reform, but he wanted to make clear that it wasn't, he's not for some Boehner-backed thing that is going to take Democratic votes to get passed. He's not for the Senate bill. He's for very limited, very calculated, quote-unquote, immigration reform, not urging the leadership to railroad the American public with this. So I just want to make clear what he said to us yesterday.
Well, look, I agree with Sal, and Sal was the lead in my column.
Yeah, that's why I bring him up. Yeah,
on this, right? And I thought it was interesting. First of all, I've known Sal Russo for 30 years. He and I both were friends of the late Jack Kemp, who wants an open, inclusive Republican Party and wants pro-growth. Look, my point is what I'm going to call, quote, sensible immigration reform. Sensible immigration reform will really be pro-growth, can really help America, and can really help the Republican Party put a different face on and reach out, not just to Latinos, by the way. This is symbolic. I think immigration reform is symbolic. reaching out to Asians, to African Americans, to young people, to women. It says the Republican Party can, in fact, be a big tent. Its policies don't have to echo the Democrats, but there's a reach-out factor here that I think is very, very important. And I'm not talking either about unbridled citizenship or amnesty. I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is, first of all, the possibility of legal status so long as the immigrants who are living here illegally pay their back taxes, all right, checked up for any criminal offenses. Criminals must be deported. But also learn English, learn civics, learn history, learn the Constitution. They have to go through a process, and I think that's very, very important. I don't want them put at the front of the line for citizenship. I'm not really even talking about citizenship right now. I'm talking about legal status. Rand Paul has come out for legal status in a similar way. So has Governor Rick Perry. So has former Governor Jeb Bush. I like the direction here. And I want to add another point. I hate to go on, but look,
No, go.
we need the brainiacs. We need the brainiacs. We need the high-tech electric engineers. That's what all the Silicon Valley people tell us. We need the students, the foreign students we are educating. Why should we send them home? Why not keep them here, okay? We need the low-end workers. That's what the Farmers Association and the Retailers Association are telling us. In other words, we need legal immigration. We need legal visa increases. And if we do that, more population will expand, increase economic growth. Look, it's real simple. Population times productivity equals growth. The U.S. having a population problem. Our birth rate is declining. Our fertility rate is declining.
But Larry, our workforce participation rate is declining.
Right.
49% of all unemployed people have given up looking for work. You, in my opinion, just on this issue alone, you will lose the base of the Republican Party, and you will not gain nearly enough of current Democrats or independents who say, oh, they're really good people after all, and make up the difference of the people who will become upset and stay home and revolt and be unhappy.
Well, let me respond. Okay, those are fair points, and I respect those points. But let me respond. Studies have shown that the participation rate of immigrants is higher than the participation rate of native-born. And that is, in my opinion, because the immigrants come here to work. All right, there may be some bad apples, but the immigrants come here to work, to have a better life for their families, and to build businesses. That's what the studies show. Now, regarding your point about the base of the GOP, color me skeptical. The polling data, which I cited in my article, is now showing that 2/3 to 3/4 of the Republican Party wants immigration reform. In fact, a very key poll, this came from Fox News poll, 76% of Republicans who are identified with the Tea Party want immigration reform. Now, that includes improved border security. Okay, and it includes the kind of strictures and hurdles that I mentioned before regarding legalization and so forth. But 76% of Republicans surveyed, who identify with the Tea Party movement, support immigration reform. That is such an important number. That's why the Sal Russo statement was very, very important. Now, the GOP should craft its own measure. I don't want cowtailing. I don't want a left-wing bill here. I don't want nothing done on border security, and I don't trust President Obama.
Well, and all fair points that you made as well, and I respect them all as well. But we have a president who doesn't follow the law. We've had under the law, a fence has to be built. It's had to be built for years and years. It never has been built. And 36,000 criminals were just released back into the streets, including murderers and rapists. So, I just can't see the stomach for it out there. And by the way, the Gallup just did a poll on what's important, the top 13 issues. Immigration is down near the bottom. Nobody cares, except the activists who care.
Well, I think that's a bit misleading, that particular poll, because, yes, that's quite true. But I just want to say that right now the GOP has a bad image. It's an image of cranky white men. and women. And that image has to change.
But Larry, it'll never change because it's the media that gives it that image.
No,
and no matter how far the Republicans go, they'll never go far enough for the media. And they'll always say, see, you can't bring your gay partner here because the mean Republicans wouldn't let them. No matter what the Republicans do, they'll always be the bad guys.
Republicans and conservatives have many media outlets today. On television, on cable, and on radio, and in blogs. Okay, we have plenty of outlets today. The GOP lost immigrant vote. 27% of Asians voted for Mitt Romney. 27% of Hispanics voted for Mitt Romney. GOP cannot win with those kinds of numbers. If the party has a sensible policy and puts its best foot forward with the kind of principles that I'm encouraging here, it will make an impact. It's bigger than just immigration. It talks about whether the GOP will go for a big tent. Ronald Reagan went for a big tent. Jack Kemp wanted a big tent. If I agree with you on 90% of the issues, Steve Malzberg, but I disagree with you on 10% of the issues, I nonetheless can live and operate with you under the same big tent. I've made this point in many things. I've said, for example, look, I am a conservative Catholic and all that goes with that, but I am willing to work in the same big tent as my friends from the log cabin Republicans. And I believe that kind of attitude, which is an open, inclusionary attitude, is missing from the GOP and must change.
All right, fair enough, Larry. Always great to talk to you, my friend. And we could agree to disagree, but we do agree, I guess, maybe 85% of the time. And I look forward to our next chat. Thank you, sir.
Thank you ever so much.
Take care. Larry Kudlow, ladies and gentlemen, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. I love talking to Larry. Yeah, well, we disagree on that. We'll talk about this with the panel coming up. But my fear is that the big tent will, if immigration won't keep the base home, once you expand that big tent to say, oh, you know, and this is not a mock at Larry. I would have said it to him, but I don't have time for his response because I got a break in about 30 seconds here. If that Big Ten starts including, oh, you know, gay marriage, if the Big Ten starts including, oh, you know, pro-choice, you're going to turn, the base will stay home. And the Democrats, they're not going to become Republicans. So I just don't see it as a winning strategy. I don't. But we'll discuss it with the panel coming up next, right here, the Malzberg panel on the Steve Malzberg Show. Don't go away.